Hey, Marlon, thank you so much for doing this. You know, after last season, what do you kind of come into this all season? Is there something in particular that you are focusing on in your game?
Um, I guess some things I'm trying to focus on this year going into this season is really just trying to get the ball more as far as interceptions and mainly clean up different things with knowing where my help is. I'm using that more to where I can be a little more aggressive here, a little less aggressive here, depending on different things. And just I've been talking with my DB coach Chris and just trying to figure out what you're going to take into the season to have a couple consistent things that you do and to where it's book work, to where it's you're doing it every time. This is what it is, and it's not. You have those flashes of bad things. You're like, yo, what technique was that? And you're just all over the place. So I'm kind of just trying to tighten up some things technique wise to where it's what Coach Chris keeps telling me is have a game plan when you get to the line. And that's something that I think I'm gonna take into the season. I think that's the quote that I'm gonna use. Every time you line up, you want to have a game plan. You never just want to just line up and kind of just be not in the stance, kind of just all over the place. You want to, get the call, know the call. Once you get all that, all the pre-snap stuff, figure out your game plan, how you're going to, do what you need to do, and have it to where it's so in tune that it just comes natural.
Bo Smoker?
Hey, Marlon, I have two questions for you, if you don't mind. One, when you got drafted, you come to an organization that had Ray Lewis, it had Ed Reed, defensive cornerstones, and now a lot of people are viewing you as kind of the next in line in that kind of defensive cornerstone of the franchise. What do you sense when you hear that, and what will it take to get to that level? I mean, obviously, a gold jacket would be nice, but what would it take to that level? And the second question is, as a guy who just got the huge contract, how important was it for you to be here at OTAs when a lot of veterans might opt to stay away?
To be anytime you're compared to the Ray Lewises and Ed Reeds, it's definitely always an honor. I can't say I've heard that too many times, but if that's what's being talked about, that's definitely a huge honor. I know those guys got some Defensive Player of the Year, so I probably need to get one of those in order to really try to be one of those cornerstone pieces. But definitely it's always an honor to be compared to those guys. This organization is defense, defense, defense. And with those defenses, you got a lot of guys that you think of when you think of those great defenses. And then as far as OTAs, some guys come, some guys don't. It's an optional thing, but for me, I just wanted to get back, get some sessions in, get with my coach, work on a couple things. It's a long off season, and I was ready to get to work. Work with some of these guys, and so I enjoyed it. I feel like I wanted to see how our draft picks looked. How some of the other guys have been working off season. I really wanted to see how I was just with my training, see how it worked up with some of the guys. So it was a good OTAs and mini camp. And it was really good to see, everybody all together the past 2 days to get some good work in.
Jerry Coleman?
Marlon, just being out of practice, it's hard to miss you on the field or hear you. Have you become on your own more vocal? Did someone say to you, hey, let's be more vocal? Because it's not exactly you were a shrinking violet when you arrived at the Ravens, but now it seems like you're heard throughout almost every play, especially when they target.
I've definitely gotten more comfortable here, so that's just allowed me to be more myself. I think early on, it takes you a while to kind of just feel your way out and feel how things are, and Wink talked about a loud defense is a good defense, and the biggest thing. When I come out today, I'm like, man, I got to get myself going today. And the way I do that is being vocal. And hopefully, a lot of times when it's kind of a ripple effect, you're yelling, you're getting going, trying to get going, and you don't know what that does for the next man. So that's the biggest thing. When the feed comes, after we do 7-on-7, the whole team gets up, you hear feed, that gets me going. So it's kind of like a lot of times guys do things, thinking, getting themselves going, but it affects the whole team. We do that two on the flare, and we all yell, and it gets the juices going, get the blood flow going, and it's just good for everybody. It's just kind of the way you want to move. You want to be loud, you want to get going, you want to make sure everybody knows everybody, and so that's been the biggest thing for me, just being comfortable. I've been able to be more vocal and knowing the defense and different things, so it's kind of all went hand in hand.
Luke Jones?
Marlon, you touched on this a little bit with OTAs, but having a chance to go up against them these last few weeks, what have been your impressions going up against Sammy Watkins? I know you played in a real game setting, but playing against him more regularly, and also first-round pick Rashad Bateman.
With something that I definitely have noticed differently with our receiving core. I actually noticed it when I first got back. I look over during warm-ups, and I'm seeing our wide receiver coaches, doing some different things, and I'm seeing the wide receiver coaches acting like DBs, and I'm like, they need to put on some cleats. So I noticed the energy. I felt a major energy change with that wide receiver group, not only with the coaching, but just with the wide receivers that are there. That even the ones that were there, last year, I feel like everyone's kind of came back, stepped their game up a lot. I thought Jalen Moore had a really good. I felt like he stepped up a lot. Prochet, Duve, but with Bateman and Sammy, they've been really, really big as well. Bateman, I couldn't really tell about him. I'm like, and then he hit me with something, caught the ball, ran out of bounds, and came up and tapped me on the buttons. I got a little wiggle too, so I was like, I like that. Really good right there, guy. And Sammy, of course, he's got a pretty good pedigree himself. And I just think this year, it's going to be whatever group makes it. It'll be we'll have a really serious, good passing attack. Just with what those guys can do, I think it's been a really good OTAs for all those guys. And I forgot about Hollywood. Hollywood, he does his thing as well. And I think it'll just be a much different year than what we've seen in the past out of our core. And the best thing for me is when you got really good wide receivers that are doing good things in practice, it makes training camp that much more realistic, because that's the work we need. We try to pride ourselves in being the best secondary, and it's hard to be a really great secondary when you got 2 or 3 good wide receivers. You want to have it to where you got 5 and 6 and 7 wide receivers, to where it makes it really tough on what wide receivers you pick. It seems like in the past it was like, all right, these 4 guys are for sure going to make it, and we don't know about this guy. I feel like this year it'll be a really tough decision to figure out who's going to make it, because we got some serious stuff. And I think just the work ethic that the guys are doing, and I think the coaches over there, the new coaches are really pushing them to be great.
Take a couple more here from Marlon. Garrett Downing?
Marlon, I'm curious, you just mentioned Bateman doing a little trash talk or banter. Is that something that you like when you see that from a rookie player, to have that confidence to go, kind of give it to you a little bit as a veteran DB that you're going up against?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, man, that's good stuff. Just because it shows that there's major confidence there. It's one thing when you can play. I mean, if you get to the NFL, you can play football. That's just that simple. But it's the confidence that'll take you to the next level. You see a lot of first-rounders get in the league and never pan out. It has nothing to do with ability. It's more the confidence. And that's the biggest thing. Once that confidence goes away, it's something that's very tough to get it back, especially at this level. Every wide receiver, I feel like what makes a lot of them great is, the confidence they have. Might drop a pass here, but the next time they go up, they're thinking, this is going to be my catch, this is going to be my ball. And so to see that out of Bateman, it just showed me the confidence he has. And after guarding him throughout OTAs and mini camp the other day, I've just seen some serious flashes. I had told DeCosta, I was like, hey, man, I think we got a pretty good one in Bateman. So he's shown some really good things to me. I can't wait to get some more battles with him in training camp and take it into the season.
That's all the time we have for Marlon today. Marlon, we really appreciate you joining us.